Thanks, Gordon, and welcome everybody. So you'd be glad to hear I don't intend to be here for very long because there's much better speakers and experts to talk to you during the rest of the day. It's actually interesting. We were at the speakers dinner last night, and one of the speakers said to me, says, "You know what, Brian? This is probably one of the best conferences I've ever come to, because if you look at the speakers you've lined up, every single one of them could be a keynote speaker for every other conference that's around. So I think we're very blessed to have people here. And today being Thanksgiving Day, we do have guests from the US over. So I want to be very thankful for all our speakers and, of course, our sponsors to be here. But as Gordon said, this is our 10th anniversary. IRISSCert was set up in 2008. I set up because I figured as a country that was identifying itself as being a key player in the tech industry and wants to build its economy based on technology and to get foreign direct investment, etc., brought into the state, that it would be good to have somebody look after the security of the environment and the internet that those companies are going to be using. And of course, 2008, for those of you who are probably an older vintage, was also the year we had the Great Recession and the downturn. So when you go to the government and say, "Hey guys, can we have funding to set up a cert, or do you want to keep the hospitals open?" Kind of you're onto a losing argument. But thankfully, to our sponsors, and back then one of the biggest sponsors we had was the Science Institute. They're the ones who got us up and running. We were able to set up IRISSCert. And for those of you who don't know, IRISSCert is a cert. We provide computer emergency response services to the private sector here in Ireland. We coordinate responses to incidents, and we notify organizations when they've been breached. It's all done voluntarily. So the fee you pay today to attend here today it's just to cover the coffee and the sandwiches, etc., you're going to have during the day. Our sponsors have paid for everything else. They're paying for this hotel, they're paying for the room, and they're paying to keep us operating for the rest of the year. So we're managing keeping this cert going on a budget of between 10 and 15,000 euro per year. So it's thanks to all the volunteers that we actually can provide our service as well. And interesting, being the 10th, a decade on from it, you kind of look back at the slides you have for the previous talks, and you'd be thankful I don't have slides today. But the first conference I had, we were posting up the number of incidents that were reported to us. In 2008, we had the amazing figure of 448 incidents reported to us in 2008. This year, that figure is approximately 30,000. So in 10 years, the scale is gone. And, that's a combination of because we're more active in the community, we're getting more notifications, we're coordinating with other certs better, but also indicates how much the cybercrime landscape has changed in Ireland in the past 10 years, and how criminals are targeting companies no matter where they are and whatever they have. So typically the attacks we see, and Gordon touched on some of the talks we're having later on, and I've had the pleasure to preview a lot of them because the speakers have sent them to me. And you're not going to hear about, ninja-type hackers or the zero-day attacks or this. You will hear about the sophisticated attacks, and we take security seriously, but not in the way you might think. Because when we analyze all those statistics of the approximately 30,000 issues we get notified on, the root cause of many of them is poor passwords. So people's FTP sites have been hacked because they have poor passwords for their control panel. Criminals log in and then exploit their website to host malware or cryptocurrency or cryptoware or anything else on that particular website. Or there are systems that haven't been patched. We still see servers running Windows 2003 on the internet. So they're still being patched. They're not being patched. And they're, oh my God, how did the attackers get into our server? And lack of monitoring. Very often the first time many of these companies and organizations know they've been hacked has been because we've contacted them, or another sort of contacted them to say, your website is now hosting malicious software, or it's been used as part of a phishing site, or your systems are being used to send out spam emails. They're the main reasons. It's not 0 days or all the things that hit the headlines. It's the bog standard normal stuff. So there's a lot of stuff working there. But in the 10 years we've been working, we've had some significant milestones as well. We were very involved in Stuxnet. You may not realize, but Ireland was one of the key players in the Stuxnet story. If you look at the semantic data about Stuxnet, you will see that 2 of the command and control centers were actually hosted here in Ireland. So we're part of looking after those. We have been part of the Configure working group. And Configure, I think that's 8 years old. It is still out there. But Configure, we're part of the group who helped take that down. DNS Changer, we're part of the group who helped to take that down as well. We are members of IRISSCert, which is kind of the European group of all European certs where we coordinate and cooperate and work together to try and make the internet safer. We're a liaison members with the Forum of Incident Response and Security Teams first. So there has been, we are actively involved in trying to make the environment much safer for everybody else as well. And coming back to what I said earlier on, 2008, we set IRISSCert up because of lack of government funding and, to be quite frank, probably lack of government and political will in the area. And unfortunately, I would say we haven't seen any major change in that. As a nation who relies on the knowledge economy and relies on computers and IT, we need to take this stuff more seriously. We need to have a dedicated role within the Irish government to take responsibility for cybersecurity at a national level. Call it a cybersecurity SAR or a minister for cybersecurity or whatever you want. We need somebody at that level to drive this through. And we are very lucky. We have some very dedicated people working in government trying to keep our internet safe. We have the National Centre for Cybercrime, and the National Centre, the National Cybersecurity Centre, part of the Department of Communications, and they're going to be speaking later on today. And they do Trojan work. And I'm delighted they're speaking here today because this is probably the first day many of you are even going to know we have a National Cybersecurity Centre, and you're going to hear about what they do. They do a lot of great work in the background, but they get little thanks or acknowledgement for what they do. And we've had newspaper reports where the Comptroller Auditor General has highlighted how the government has not provided them with the funding or the backing they need to do their job. On Garda Síochána, and those of you who aren't Irish, that's the Irish Police Force, we have one of the top cybercrime units in the world working here. So if any of you have a cybercrime issue, do pick up the phone, contact the Gardaí and report cybercrime to them. Because, like the National Cybersecurity Centre, they're not getting the funding or the backup from the political people either. And the more data they have and the more crimes reported to them means the better arguments they have to go to their political masters and say, we need more funding, we need more resources, we need better stuff on this as well. And our defence forces, they're doing great work as well. So I think as a nation, we should be very proud of the public servants who are working on our behalf to keep the internet safe. But I would make this a call to say we as a community, we as an industry need to go back to our politicians and those who we talk to say, you guys need to spend more time on this. This is important. You're trying to roll, we have the National Digital Strategy that it's open for commentary. So I would ask you if one thing you do from today is go back, go onto the Department of Communications website, go onto the National Digital Strategy and comment on what we need to make that more secure and a safe place for us to operate, not just for us, but our children, our children's children. And I'm delighted one of the speakers we're going to have today is from CyberSafe Ireland. And Clean is going to be talking about how we can make children more resilient online. So it's not keep the kids away from the internet because it's a dangerous place. Is teach people how to be resilient on the internet. And we can take, as business people, as many of you are who are here from your organizations, we can take those lessons back to our organization. And how do we make our organizations more resilient to survive on the internet? Internet is embedded in our daily lives, and computers are embedded in our lives now. So we need to be more resilient as individuals and as companies and as a nation. So again, my call to everybody here today is, please, let's not think about this as being a problem just for the geeks. This is a problem for everybody. And we need a national strategy, and we need political will behind a lot of this to get this thing going. So I'm not going to bore you much more. I'm just going to say, look, we all have a role in this, and we should take that role responsibly. And I hope you all have a great day. As Gordon says, please do visit our sponsors. Without them, you would not have this conference. We would not have IRISSCert looking after the private sector. So they're key. Go out to them and say, even just say thank you. Yeah. That's because the money they gave us is what keeps things going. So, and I like to thank you guys for coming here, because you are what makes the sponsors want to be here in the first place. So, so thank you as well. So hopefully you all have a great day, and today being a Thanksgiving Day. Thank you and enjoy.